Moon platoon, hot dog barbecue, and freedom for everyone. Financial freedom. That's what we've been fighting for. The ability to be able to go out and finally say, I can do that one thing I've always wanted to do. No, I can do every one thing that I've always wanted to do. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of why we are holding and what is the point of the war of attrition. What are hedge funds actually waiting around for? And who can even invest in these hedge funds? We have right here, the higher levels of risk associated with hedge funds means that the SEC has regulations on who can even invest in them. So not only are we going to talk about the state of affairs for AMC and GME, but we're also going to take you through the journey of why on this day, the day before the 4th of July, Independence Day, Ape Dependence Day for those of you holding outside of the United States. Thank you guys for waiting around on whether or not we are seeing the final and perhaps the only greatest wealth transfer of our generation. From who to who? Well, from these people that can invest in hedge funds to those of you. And we're going to answer these questions about why these hedge funds are continuing to hold. So if you don't see this video up at 3,200 likes, let's like this video and talk first of all about who we're up against, the investors of these hedge funds. If you guys watched The Big Short, in that movie, Michael Burry had a bunch of angry emails about exactly the people who invested in his hedge fund. Those people who said, hey, we really feel like you are taking advantage of a situation where you are shorting a stock that is no way near able to fall to the levels that you think it's going to. And therefore, they're getting real angry. Who are these people that invest in Citadel and Melvin? To invest in a hedge fund as an individual, you must be an institutional investor like a pension fund or an accredited investor. Accredited investors have to have a net worth of $1 million. So not including the value of their primary residence or annual individual incomes over $200,000 or $300,000 if you're married. So if you are married and you want to invest in a hedge fund, you have to have 50% more money in your income than the person who is investing as a single. Singles unite at the idea. Overall, that's a small fraction of the US population. According to the United States Census Bureau, only about 4% of households earned over $300,000 necessary for a family to reach accredited investor status in 2019. 4% versus 4.1 million apes as of the last time we did a count of how many apes hold the shares for AMC. However, more people qualify now than was initially intended. Interestingly, the thresholds for the accredited investors haven't been updated since the 1980s, and now they have more people than they intended. So look at that. Now you have people with closer to net worth of 2.5 million if those numbers were adjusted for inflation. Weirdly enough, they weren't. So more and more people can invest in hedge funds, but still only about 4% in 2019. The point of these hedge funds, right, is that they are making very risky bets in hopes of getting higher returns. So they're not as risk averse as a bunch of people working step at a time. And that's the main thing about the apes, is that the prisoner's dilemma of selling on towards the top of the squeeze is a bunch of rich people on one side looking at down the barrel of an inevitable squeeze. We've been looking at the Ortex data from the last few days. GameStop down to 8.5%, right? If you are concerned about why that short interest is changing, a very quick explanation and a further follow-up is in the video linked in the description down below. But all of that has to do with the fact that the options chain is holding a lot of the secrets of whether or not the SEC confirms you can hide your short interest there. And we have been seeing the GME options chain off the hook, and you can look at the video in the description for more information. As a reminder, AMC also has seen around a 90 million short interest. That means that out of the 513-ish million shares that exist, 90 million of them have either been rehypothecated, have been shorted to someone else that thinks that they own one share. Really, it's one share that is being loaned out from one person to the next, and 20% of the total population of all the float is now shorted. Right, this was closer to almost 100 million short interest earlier on in the week, and that is the reason why we keep on fighting. The fact of the matter is, right now AMC and GME are in a eye of the gamma storm. It's something that we've seen multiple times. In fact, we see a chart of just how many times people have called it that it is over. Let's take a look at GME just as an example. We took a look at the daily, and that way we can start expanding out to the January squeeze. And right after that, for a good amount of time, people trending around the $60 range, they said it was over. Then we hit the March gamma squeeze. That brought the average price up from the 60s all the way into the 280s, then started trending sideways again all the way down until 150. They said it was over then, but if you compare 60 to 150, that is a very vastly different equation. If you go from 150 and then people said it was over, June gamma squeeze would have decided otherwise, and now we're up in the 200s. There are analysts that will say, you know, looks like from the top of the squeeze, sure seems like the story is over. But if you bought in at the 60s, you would be up 300%. So just think about that. That's the difference of who we are holding and who we are fighting against. Every single day, you know that the hedge funds spend millions of dollars on the short interest. That's the point of the cost to borrow, right? The cost to borrow average of AMC got all the way up to the 200s. So the 200% cost to borrow, imagine just how expensive it was to hold those shorts at the very top. That is how much money that they are spending each and every day just to hold their short position. You, on the other hand, get to sit back and actually hug your family, loved ones, and know that your attendees are currently being held for a cool discount of $0. A long position on the AMC or GME train costs nothing at all. That's why we hold. That is the opportunity cost there. Oftentimes when you think about financial freedom, when you think about taking what's yours, of understanding the world out there, there's big guys and there's small guys. And the big guys understand that each decision comes with an infinite amount of opportunity costs. And if that's too much economics, just think about this. Every door that you walk through when you're making decisions, you end up not walking through a million other doors. That is the reason why people say rise and grind. It is time to get that bread, because if you don't go through the one door that you would have gone through today, learning about financial freedom, understanding the stock economy, or just going out and exercising, making your brain, your body feel good, you have just closed that one extra door. 1,000,001 doors closed to you. That's the reason why we get up so early each day and go bell to bell telling you about the data you need to understand, as well as the facts. The people that are currently investing in these hedge funds have money to spare. And when the economy starts to have a downturn, they are going to be the ones that are the most safe. So can you say that the same thing for your family this Independence Day? You know about dark pools, you know about the fact that they continue to tax us without representation. And the idea behind every single piece of information that we have been spreading from this channel from inception is trying to give you guys the tools that you need to take the reins of your financial freedom. And I hope that means 111,111 subscribers that we just passed yesterday is that wish. I'm hoping that we are all going to be able to reach the moon together, whatever that means to you. Happy Independence Day, and we'll see you in the money. Peace.